A lot of us as women, we already know what's not right, but somehow, some way, we convince ourselves that we're confused or that we need more clarity or I just need to, more time to figure out what I need to trust or how I need to move, which way I need to go. So yeah, I think we already know, and we're really not confused at all. Hey everyone, welcome back to Trust in Her Journey. I'm Felicia.
And I'm Crystalline. Welcome, welcome.
We're so glad that you all are back with us for another episode. I can't believe that we're getting close to the end of season 2. I feel like this season flew by for some strange reason. It feels like, oh my God, we're almost at the end, but we're excited because we have at least, what would you say, like 2 more episodes coming out for this season?
Seven if possible.
Yeah, you never know with us. Especially after last week's episode where we just went off the cuff, like just followed what was coming up for us. You never know what new episodes could come out in this season. But regardless, we're happy that you're back for another week, for another episode. As you all know, if you have been listening at all to season 2, over the past few weeks, we've kind of talked about everything from relationships, meaning like friendships, feeling overwhelmed, all of the things above. And before we even thought about the episode for today, we were going to jump into dating. Like we were going to start talking about some things that we hear often in our work with women around dating, but something just didn't sit right with us. It kind of felt as if we were moving too fast. And I remember sending you a voice note like, yes, I do know that we need to talk about, dating and intimate relationships or serious relationships, however you want to phrase it. But it was something that just felt like, I don't know if we should jump right into dating. I think that we are skipping something and maybe we need to pause and like regroup and think about where we want to go with this conversation before we head there.
Right. Yeah, and I knew exactly what you meant. We can't start talking about making different choices or better choices in who you're dating and who you're in a relationship with if you don't even trust yourself yet. So how can you trust that you're making the right choice if you?
Yeah.
I think this is the best next step.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I agree because even when we think about that, not trusting yourself, a lot of us as women, we already know what's not right, but somehow, some way, we convince ourselves that we're confused or that we need more clarity or I just need to, more time to figure out what I need to trust or how I need to move, which way I need to go. So yeah, I think we already know, and we're really not confused at all.
No, you knew something was off and you stayed anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, you heard our voice. You felt the hesitation. You had the lump in your throat and a knot in your stomach, and you talked yourself into staying.
Yeah.
You talked yourself out of moving forward, out of moving on, out of giving the situationship, out of giving the relationship. You saw inconsistency, but you explained it away. Something I often tell some of my single clients, if you have to say to yourself, well, at least.
Oh. Yeah.
If that's how you're starting the conversation when you were talking about someone that you were connected to,
Yeah.
Then
No,
you are practicing not trusting your instincts.
of
Or
course.
practicing, you're making it. Yeah, you're practicing not trusting the insight and the wisdom and the intuition that God has given you by trying to convince yourself to, well, at least.
Yeah. No, that is so real. And what's always interesting to me is after we kind of talk ourselves through, like, well, at least, and a lot of times I call that minimizing, like we're actually minimizing what's in front of us. So, and we're justifying by saying, well, at least it's not this bad. At least they're consistent here. And we will continue on that path. And later down the road, we're kind of stuck with, how did I end up here again?
Yeah, and that's because it's not because you don't know how you ended up there. It's because you don't trust what
Mm,
you know. You're not trusting
mhm.
what's right in front of you. Like I said, you're minimizing what is actually in front of
Yeah.
you. And practice doing that. Oh, it starts so small. And so
Mhm.
you don't even realize sometimes that's what's happening.
Yeah.
The more you minimize, the more you talk yourself into accepting things that you don't like, into going against your values, into not trusting your gut or your instincts, then what happens is it kind of seeps into every area of your life.
Yes.
So at work, you're not trusting yourself. You don't have the same confidence as you used to have. You don't even recognize it at first sometimes. Um, so yeah.
Yeah, and even when you say like you start to question or not trust yourself in the workspace, I think often what I look at too is like, yeah, you don't trust yourself in that space, but you realize that you are ignoring yourself. Like you're overriding the things that you already know to be true. And it happens so much so that like the feeling is uncomfortable for people. They can't explain what's happening, but ultimately what that looks like when I tell them that, like, you lack trust when you think about work, you lack trust when you think about your ability to accomplish goals or to go after things, you're not trusting yourself when you have decisions to make, big or small. You're not trusting yourself when you're like, okay, this was my plan, this didn't work out in the way that I wanted to, I'm gonna pivot. But then you're questioning your pivot even when you're there. And what I often say, what's happening is you're disconnected from yourself. It's no longer just about the relationship that you're in. Like you said, because you don't trust your intuition or your gut there, it's now starting to creep over into other domains of your life. So much so that you feel disconnected from yourself as a whole. Like you don't know how to move. It kind of feels like I don't even know who I am anymore. I don't even know how I got here. And what we do know is sometimes when that comes up, like I said before, we often land in a space where maybe more time I can figure it out. So we keep doing the same things over and over again because we're feeling like if I have more time to figure it out, then I'll start to trust myself again. Then I'll start to feel connected to myself again. And time alone is not going to rebuild the connection. Time alone is not going to rebuild the trust.
No, that's like saying I'm going to get better at, weight training. If I go to the gym once a week for an hour. Well, yeah, you were there for
Mhm.
can't win one time.
Yeah, no, seriously.
You can't build endurance that way.
Yeah.
You have to practice with even the small decision, like you mentioned. Like how you build your confidence within yourself. That's how to practice trusting yourself. When you are faced with doing something that's hard, like applying for a job and going on an interview. Well, it doesn't matter if you apply for 50 jobs and five people called you back and five people want to interview. You need to go to all five or at least the top three, as opposed to talking yourself out of doing none of it because I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Or the one time last year when I won the job, the interview, they didn't call me back. Well, that's
Yeah. Yeah.
practice doing the difficult or uncomfortable things
Yeah.
that you can build your confidence and build your trust once again yourself. Self-trust does not just disappear though. Let me be clear about
Mm-mm.
it. Doesn't. A lot of us were taught either directly or indirectly, it might have been subtle, and not listen to yourself.
Yeah, I agree. And honestly, I think I kind of had this conversation with a client earlier this week. So many of us have been praised for being more understanding than actually being honest. I feel like we are too understanding. Like we
Why did I have to understand everything? Why do I
everything.
figure out why do I have to talk myself into being
Yeah.
okay with something that I'm not okay with? If
Yeah.
something feels off, I can honor myself and take care of myself by going in the opposite direction. Or
Hmm.
if you don't feel like you're ready to go in the opposite direction, maybe just pause.
Yeah.
Just pause.
Yeah. And some of us,
Breathe.
but some of us don't want to pause because we are trying so hard to be patient. We're trying so hard to be flexible. We're trying so hard to um be easy going. I hear that a lot. Like, I want to be easy going, or I don't want to show up as too much. And because we don't want people to view us in that way, we really do work harder to be understanding. We're negotiating with, as you said, our
Yep.
values, what we want for ourselves. We're not even listening to ourselves because it's more so, I want to show up for them more than I want to show up for myself. I want to trust them to lead me more than I want to trust myself to make my own decisions and lead my own way.
Yeah, you literally just described self-abandonment.
Oh, yeah. Mm,
We don't call it that. I'm just trying to be
yeah.
understanding. I don't want to overreact. I need to make sure that I understand a little bit. I need more clarity, more time, more all of the things. And it's just you're managing yourself.
Hmm.
It's important to decide what is important to you right now, whether it's for a relationship, whether it's for a job, whether it's for how much money you want in your bank account, whatever. You get to decide then what is important to you right now. And then when you find yourself in a situation that does not align with what you decided was important to you, you have to decide or ask God, give me this front the exit stage left, please.
Hmm.
Give me a way out, please.
Hmm.
The Bible says that God will do that for us.
Yeah.
And trusting in God with all of our heart. Remember, I've talked about this before, y'all. We don't free all of our ways to God, and we don't ask Him to um give us wisdom about the next best thing for us to do.
Yeah.
Then we're always gonna feel uncertain.
Hmm.
Gonna have doubt because we're leaning on our own understanding.
Hmm.
And yeah, we want God because I know all y'all listening, y'all want God to make your ass straight, right? That's what He
Hmm.
said. And He will do for us when we trust Him with all of our
Yeah.
heart, when we
Yeah.
practice not leaning onto our own understanding. And I'm saying practice because I know I'm guilty of it too.
Same.
I'll hit the ground running doing my own thing, and I ain't
Yeah.
nothing to Him. And it does not work out the way I feel uncertain the whole time. Question, should I have been doing this?
Hmm.
Be doing that. Even when we talked before, right? Making sure we're on the right path. Even with this podcast, we're always consulting God about what should we talk about? Is this the best thing for us to do? Because this is not about us.
Hmm.
And so that can apply not just in our relationships, but in every area of your life. If
Yeah.
you know that you don't have the clarity that you need, you have to seek God first.
Yeah.
So
I
you
agree.
can't just always be like, oh, it's fine. It'll be all right.
And knowing that it's not fine. And I am big on your body will always tell you when things aren't fine. I mean, we know it's the way that, we often say, like, oh my God, I feel like my body is shutting down. I'm getting sick every time I'm around this person. I feel a way.
Yep.
But you continue to stay there longer, and it makes it so much harder for you to hear yourself or to know where you should be going because you are refusing.
Yeah.
to create or honor yourself.
Right. You practice not doing it.
Yes.
Practice abandoning yourself. You practice not honoring yourself so that essentially it become your default setting.
Yeah.
When you try to, kind of go against that, it's kind of like, well, am I doing the right thing? You already knew the right thing to do, but you ignored it. So now we got to course correct.
Yep.
Got to bump up your session.
Yeah.
More podcast episodes. I'll be praying. So yeah, you got to start doing all of these things all over again. And I guess that part really is for the woman who's listening, who has spent a lot of time doing a lot of hard work on herself. At some point, she recognized, like, I don't like the way things are going.
Yeah.
Relationships, where the ways I feel about myself, the way I see myself, the way I'm talking to myself, whatever she decided that she wanted to change, and then
Yeah.
distraction. She's not listening to her instincts. Because she doesn't trust herself. So no, we can't just, this is bigger than just dating. We'll talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it
That part. I feel like if you don't trust yourself, it's going to be much harder for you when we do talk about dating to notice the red flags or the warning signs. I don't just focus on red flags. I want to focus on green, yellow, red, blue, whatever. When you don't notice the warning signs, okay? It's not just about that. When you I feel like we can't get to the dating part or trusting your intuition when it comes to dating if you don't learn how to trust yourself. So if let's give them some practical ways they can kind of shift into trusting themselves a little bit better. What would you encourage them to do?
So instead of trying to figure it all out, start small. What I feel right now. Not what should I feel.
Yeah.
But what do I actually feel? Not what makes sense. Not what, Krista and Felicia said on the last podcast. What do I feel right now?
Yeah.
Because you may or may not agree with a lot of the things that we're saying. So practice in small ways, trusting just if you can pause.
Yeah.
I'll deserve a 60-second pause.
Yes.
You can just pause even in this moment. What do I feel right now in this moment? If maybe somebody's name comes to mind. Jimmy's mouth on my cheek. I don't know. Talk about it. But whatever comes up, to notice, what are you physically feeling in your body when you pause, when you're not moving, when you don't have all the noise happening, right? And then don't rush past it.
Yes.
Notice it, right? And then ask yourself, okay, now when I pause and I'm noticing what I'm feeling, what's happening in my body, like Felicia mentioned earlier, because your body is going to tell you.
The body will tell you everything you need to know.
Yeah. So then what am I trying to convince myself? So this is what's true, but what am I trying to convince myself? Because that's where the disconnect is, right?
Yes. Yes. And even after you do that, I think the next step you could go into is like, if I stopped explaining this, what would be true? So, like, even when you mentioned this earlier, when you were like, well, at least that's an explanation. Like, you doing too much explaining. At least I don't have this. Okay. If you were to take a step back and stop explaining, what would the truth of this situation be? And I think that that can go across the board, whether we're talking about jobs, whether we're talking about relationships, decisions you have to make, the way that you show up for yourself. If I stop explaining this, what would be the truth? Because even when we think about self-abandonment, sometimes we will convince ourselves that I have to show up for these people or do these things because blank. It shows that I'm a good person. I steward my community. Everyone will be well. Life might be good. They're my family. Like, that is so true. So we're explaining that, but what is the truth behind it? Yes. Yes, they're your family. Yes, you want to steward your community well, and this is hurting you. And this is causing you to question your intuition. And this may be leading you down a path that you don't want to go down.
Right. And you will have so much more clarity when you pause and ask yourself what's true and stop trying to explain or talk yourself into or out of
Yeah.
um situations that some of them really haven't been being in.
In that yeah.
But sometimes, we make decisions and we just kind of end up in a place where we never saw ourselves. And so
Mm-hmm.
we kind of have to go through the motion because we're
Mm-hmm.
here now. But just sit with, if I stop explaining this, if I stop trying to tell myself at least, or maybe
Mm-hmm.
I could, or I would, what's really true?
Yeah.
This takes practice. It's not a one and done. I
Mm-hmm.
can do this today and then tomorrow all will be better. So because you probably spent so much more time abandoning yourself. So that's why I don't trust that if a situation something feels heavy for you, you don't necessarily trust that. Oh yeah, that was a sign that I probably should go another route. I should make a different choice.
Yeah.
You can't actually say no. Or you know what? I think that is, and this is going to work out for me.
Yeah.
Because this isn't all about, not being able to say no to people, or ignoring your capacity or getting in a relationship. Now, this can affect your yes as well. It can
Mm-hmm.
cripple your ability to say yes to something that really is a good opportunity or really is a good situation for you to put yourself in, a healthy new friendship or a good job or
Mm-hmm.
moving or buying a house or whatever the thing is. If you don't practice trusting yourself because you've been abandoning yourself, you'll miss the good parts too.
Yes, agreed. And here's the reminder, you really don't have to have everything figured out. You just need to stop arguing with yourself. Because we spend a lot of time trying to make something make sense when we know it's just not right. We wasted so much time and energy trying to understand and make it make sense to the point where you tired of arguing with yourself. Just stop. Just stop. You don't have to have it figured out. Take it one step at a time. And I know you've heard us say that often on the podcast. You don't have to figure everything out in the moment, just one thing. And I think the one thing that you mentioned too that is key is just pause, even for 60 seconds. So many of us jump straight into finding the solution, straight into action without even giving ourselves the time to sit back and say, what is it that I really need to do?
Yeah. So you can't hear if you're in constant motion.
Mm,
And you can't trust what you hear. If you're not praying and you're only on your own understanding, and that understanding, the limited understanding we have, is talking you into or out of something that is not good for you, and convincing yourself to do things that's not the best thing for you. A simple prayer, y'all, is God, let your will be done. Or help me. And what I'm to do next. And sit and wait and practice not doing the thing.
That's the hard part.
Yeah, it is. It is hard. It takes practice.
Yeah.
It takes practice. And focusing on this moment. What do I and it might sound silly, but the more you do that, the more you'll just know.
Yeah, I say that all the time. Confidence is built through doing. Like, there's no way that you can build confidence in whatever area you have labeled if you're not going to actually do. You have to do it.
I really
Yeah.
right there.
I mean, I wish it was too, but the reality is it's not.
No. So if you want to be more confident and you want to practice trusting yourself, trust God to give you the wisdom and the understanding, or trust God with the wisdom and the understanding He's already given you.
Mm-hmm.
Pause and wait. You feel like, I don't really answer from God, or I don't really know. And yet, y'all making that sound too easy or too simple. Practice sitting 60 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Notice what you feel. Notice where your thoughts go. If that's hard, just notice. Just notice that it's hard. No judgment. Judgment would sound like, well, you should be able to do this by now. What's wrong with you? You always got something. That's judging yourself. And we would not talk to people we love and care about like that.
Yeah.
So let's practice not talking to ourselves like that. Just notice it is really hard for me to stay here. And I'm going to try it again later.
Yes.
I'm going to try it again tomorrow. God help me to be able to do this. I want to get better at it. I look forward to when this is not so hard for me to do. Or it don't have to be fancy and it don't have to be
Mm,
formal.
mm, I like that. Well, you know what? This episode was good to me. I had a few reminders that I'm like, okay, let me hold on to this as I move forward, and I hope you all can pull some gems out that'll be helpful for you as well. So, as you know, we'll be moving into dating. But before we even start talking about men's situations and all of that, we really just needed you to pause here because this part matters the most. This part is very sacred to me. When I think about the way that we show up for ourselves, the way we care for ourselves, the foundation is important. And I am happy that we took a pause, we landed here, and now you'll hear over the next few episodes just some reminders and things you can think about if you're single or even if you're dating and you're trying to figure out, is this for me or what should I be looking for? Um, they'll be coming up. So we hope that you stay tuned for those episodes too.
Yeah. So here's what we want you all to get with this week. Where have I been overriding what I already knew?
Hmm.
It's something you already knew, but you tried to talk yourself into or out of the thing. Where have I been overriding what I already knew?
Yeah. And the next time that something feels off, don't explain it. Like, this is your opportunity to just notice it, just sit with it, and let it be what it is.
When you practice just noticing things and sitting with things, that's another way that clarity comes.
Hmm.
And that's another way you can practice trusting yourself.
Hmm.
When you do that, you'll just know the next step to take, however small. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Well, thank you so much for joining us for this episode. As always, if you are listening on YouTube, please make sure that you hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, please make sure that you subscribe. Drop a comment for us in the comment section. We love to get all of the text messages and emails and stuff from you all, and we would love to see you comment in the comment section there too. If you are listening on audio, we need you to do the same. Share, give us some reviews, rate us, do all of the things. But more importantly, again, we just want to say thank you so much for being a part of our journey. If you haven't subscribed to our email community, please make sure that you do that. We'll have all of that information linked in the description box, and we will chat with you all in the next episode.
All right, y'all.
All right, bye.